So the last time we were together, we were talking about orthographic projections, and we talked that an orthographic projection means a straight or right-angled picture, and it's showing us an object that would be placed into a glass cube, and then the image of that object gets projected onto the sides of the glass cube. That's what we see in our three views that we have down here. Okay, we have a front view, we have a right side view, and we have a top view. All right. Our images appear turning at 90 degrees from our front view. So if this is my front view, which we have drawn, I turn this block 90 degrees to show what I would see from the other view. So this would be, again, my top view, all right? And again, turning 90 degrees from front gives me my right view, okay? So we said that this drafting is a language, all right? And one of the things that happens with a language is they're more than one part of a language, right? So these lines here can represent our alphabet, and it's just one of many different line types that we can use. We're only going to look at a few of them, but this first line type that we have here, I'm just going to draw a little arrow off to the side here. This first black solid line is called an object line, okay? The object line shows me the border, the edges, the different planes that we're going to see from whichever particular view. So top, front views. Okay, these are always going to be solid, all right, and they're always going to show us the shape of our object. Okay, now maybe in our particular drawing, there's some other part that needs to be put in here. So one of the things that we can add to this, it's going to change up a little bit of our drawings here, is if there's a hole that goes through my object. We're going to say that right here, there is a hole that gets drilled through my block. Sorry, that's freehanded. I don't know of a better way to draw the circle with this than that, but nonetheless, we have a circle that goes through my object, okay? Now there's a couple things that I need to do. One is I have to introduce a new line type, okay? I'm going to change this to blue just, again, to kind of highlight this different line type, okay? That's what's called a center line. Okay, so it starts off by looking kind of like a plus sign in the center, and then it has a long line that extends. And the actual line itself is a short line with two long lines, okay? And when we see the circle in the primary view, we get two of those lines that cross and meet in the center of the circle, okay? So these lines are called center lines, and in just a second or two, we're going to see why they are like they are here. So I'm going to draw, again, an arrow off from those. Right, center line. Okay. Now, like I said, this one hole right here is going to change up a little bit on each one of these drawings. Okay. So here, as long as my front view is the one that's in line with that, that's what I'm going to follow. So I can follow my grid lines down. And this is going to introduce to us a new line. Okay, and I'm going to change this color again to highlight this one. Now, how I show that the hole goes all the way through my block. So these lines, okay, they start and they should intersect with the object line where they're going to start, and they should intersect with the line that they're going to finish on, and they shouldn't go beyond, and there shouldn't be an open space. The line should connect. Okay. Now this shows me that this feature that's here, that's behind my object or inside of my object, is there, but I can't see it from the front. Okay. There's material that covers over it, so I can't see it. The reason why these then are hidden lines, okay, why they have to be shown here is because there's all of this material right here in front of the hole that hides the hole from view in this angle, okay, from this angle in our front view, all right? Now, this could be a rectangle that's cut out of here. I don't know unless we use our center line again. Okay, so there'd be a short line in this view that goes right in the middle. And there's going to be a long line that extends from the top, another long line that extends from the bottom. By putting the center line between these two hidden lines, that shows me that this feature that I can't see is a hole. It is a circle. And then I can verify that here in my top view, right? My right view is also going to need to have these same lines, okay? So if I look here, I have a half an inch and a half an inch and then a half an inch. So my hidden lines are going to come a half an inch in from my left side and from my right side. And they're going to go down through the block just like I have here. Right? And again, to show that this is a hole and it goes through my piece, I'm going to draw in my center line. Okay? So our blue lines, okay, are my center lines. Okay? These red lines that I've just drawn in are hidden lines. All right? So that takes care of quite a bit of our features. All right? Now we need to start calling out the measurements to tell how big our object is. Okay? So the next part again, I'm going to switch to another line, and for this one, I'm going to bring our ruler back out here, and then we'll show how we can draw our next line. So first line I'm going to show you here starts just outside of our object. Oh, that helps when you have the pen tool selected. Just outside of the object, okay? And it's not going to go through another view. So if we were to look in here, zoom in close, okay, the green line stops before it hits the black line, stops before it hits the black line, okay? I'm going to put a couple of these in because there's a couple things we want to talk about. All right, so we got these three lines in, all right, and those three lines are called extension lines. All right, extension lines, they're extending, like I said before, from the object. They're not touching the object, but they are what we need to pave our way for the next lines. Okay, I'm going to put in two of these. Sorry, looks like I drew a little bit too far off this one part. Yeah, that gives me a little bit more space to work. All right, so okay, so these lines each have arrows at the ends of them to point to our extension line, and then you notice that there's a gap between each one. Okay, the reason for the gap is to allow for a dimension to be written in on each of those dimension lines. Okay, these green lines here with the arrows, those are called dimension lines. So dimension lines work hand in hand with our extension lines. And they're going to actually call out the number, the actual length between our extension lines. All right, and I want you to notice here also that the shorter dimension, okay, is closer to our object and it doesn't go through. Okay, I don't have this extension line extending clear up into here because if it does, it goes through my dimension line and then things start to get kind of weird. We don't exactly know where our dimension is coming from. All right, so our shortest dimensions stay closest to the object. Our longer dimensions stay further away. All right, that's one of our conventions. Just like each one of these different lines has a function, it's one of our conventions for drafting. All right, so here we see that we have our extension and dimension lines. Extension lines are the lines that extend from the object but don't actually touch. We have our dimension lines, which do touch our extension lines, and they leave a gap for dimensions to go in. We have hidden lines to show that there are features that are there that we can't see because there's, in this case, material that's in the way for us to see them. And we have center lines that are going to show us that that feature that's there happens to be a hole, a circle. All right. So here we have the different line types that we're going to be using for the assignment that we're going to have coming up next. Right. Thank you very much for watching, guys.